Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dragon Cast, episode 20. I'm your host, Malachi, resident staff modder, and today I'm joined
Every
by,
intro, every intro.
I'm Kaya.
And I'm Toshiro.
hey, um, yeah, and we are at the end of the main season, and we are now in the quarterfinals of our playoffs, with its new revamped structure. Um, but before we talk too much about that, um, let's talk about some of the things that we have announced that our active supporters are already enjoying. So a couple weeks ago, at the end of the main season, we announced the 2024 changes that are already in test. Um, So, our teams that have been knocked out are making full use of our Patara cost changes. So right now, those changes are Demon Seal, which our viewers would just know as Halo Light. That was, basically half cost B2s, but you lose a bar of health and get attack -1. We reduced the cost of that from 4 points to 3. Halo, which is just half cost B2s for attack -1. We reduced the cost of that from 6 points to 5. And Ultra Divine Water, which is you lose a bar of health, but gain +1 to all your stats. That has gone. We have reduced the cost of that from 4 points to 3. We have also announced that N Goku can now start in Super Saiyan 3. And we will, even though our teams can't test it right now, Beast Gohan will be a new costume available for Ultimate Gohan. Yeah, that's what we've announced so far. We'll probably have a few more after the bowl. But before we go from there, any thoughts on those changes, guys?
Wasn't it SJ 4, not 3?
No, we are not doing Super Saiyan 4 Goku.
Oh yeah, 3. Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
let's hit Super Saiyan 3 and Goku for N Goku, not Super Saiyan 4 for GT Goku.
Nope.
Maybe in a
Oh,
future
yeah.
season.
Yeah, maybe. I'm confused.
Mhm.
Something I love it honestly because I love seeing the Beast Go on costume and so see changes over the league over. It keep changes. It doesn't keep still. It keeps going on. We just keep changing stuff. So it's always good to see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
small little changes. I like where it's going at least. Ultra Divine Water was a Katara that was not used as much. I think it's only been used by maybe one or two teams. I think the first season that it came out, or no, and also maybe over the test season, off-season testing. People may find it a little bit more beneficial.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
curious. Curious to see what teams do with it.
Yeah, it should be good. I think it'll be interesting to see if Halo at 5 points ever gets used. Still, like right now, it's just kind of memes for uh, like the MVP or LVP. But it'll be interesting to see if the reduced cost will make help it see real usage.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on. We are in the postseason, and our viewers at home may not be too read in the loop on our new changes for the postseason. During at the beginning of the year, we announced that we were moving to base the seeding for the playoffs based off of win-loss record rather than just individual Kai performances. Um, and and the Kais would mostly be used for determining who had the bye week. Out of the matches so far that we've had, what do you guys think have been the how do you guys think that has impacted the end of our main season and the beginning of our postseason?
Actually, I like it. I like it honestly because it makes it a lot more competitive. It's like you're not just sometimes you get stuck with good Kais and you get like you have two really good teams together and one Kai and it sucks when you're at a face division of each other. And then you lose and then like one of the good teams, one of the strong teams lose really early when they shouldn't. So it definitely keeps the league more balanced, and it rewards actually for being a good team the whole year and not being stuck and not being stuck and also in the really good Kai. So yeah, it actually helps you a lot. So I love it, honestly.
I do agree that it's very competitive now. Literally the first season that we did it. East Kai, my Kai. You almost had the whole Kai except of course the person who got the bye week, which was Kaiju, eliminated. Um, Rugrats basically we just barely squeaked by because we were in a three-way tie with Namek and Muscle, and we happened to come out on top with that. Thanks to some tiebreakers and all that. But it's interesting to see, you really have to pay attention and take every match seriously now. So at least it's not everyone feeling that they're safe and all that stuff, and so people may put more like their best foot forward going into everything else. So I think it's a good change overall.
Yeah.
What about you, Kyle?
No, I think I think it's helped make it a little more competitive throughout the season, and you don't have people resting as much as they may have in past seasons. Just with if someone in their Kai did that abysmal compared to them. I think it's been nice. We've already had some good matches already with the first week of the playoffs, so curious to see how it goes going forward.
Oh yeah, like I know there's been a couple teams who are still very hesitant about these changes, just because they're like, well, now I have to compete against everybody, and maybe I could have competed with my division, but I'm still going to be a bottom 4 team, and we hear that. I do want to make that clear. We've heard that criticism and concern. Um, we've definitely made sure to take it into account, and we're monitoring for things. But the end of I think this is probably the last 3 weeks of the main season. I think were some of the most watched weeks in terms of like team performance, and there was so much discussion about who could make it, who wouldn't make it, who's in the running than we have had in past seasons, at least by our active supporters. And I do think it's been a really good change, even if there's still a little bit more work to do to tweak things and to make sure that everybody's concerns about the new format are addressed. And as Kaio said, our first round matches have been just fantastic, but it's the playoffs. These 5v5s are always fantastic. It's rare to just see a one-sided slaughter.
Plus, any match that ends with final explosion is just hype as hell.
Yes, it is. But yeah, unless you guys have some closing thoughts on these new changes, let's go ahead and get into our questions.
That's good to me.
Yep.
All right.
Yep, I'm good.
All right. First question from Havoc. What teams, excluding the team you are on, if any, are you rooting for currently? We'll just start from the top. Enemy?
Well, if it's not obviously, not the hybrids, it'd probably be androids or cold.
Okay. Okay.
My gut says Royals, but in all honesty, I'd love to see Cold or Kaiju make it all the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in my heart of hearts, like I still have a soft spot for androids and Budokai, just because I used to coach those teams. But realistically, I am rooting for every team that has not been in the bowl of the new league.
The lies, I tell you. For sure, my team.
Tosh.
So as this is what coming out in, of course, after quarterfinal, or in the middle of quarterfinals, either way. It would have been, of course, besides my team, next one up was actually GT, but yeah, GT is not in. So I'm rooting for Cold. Rooting for Cold. I don't think Android's had its time and everything. We got it back in the old league when I used to be on Android's, me, Donut, and I think Bleep and all that stuff. Androids don't need another ring. Yeah, you hear that, Anthony? You don't need another ring. OG and Android's the best. So yeah, yeah, I'm rooting for Cold.
Fair
Alright,
enough.
call it
Okay.
out, Anthony.
All right. Next question, also from Havoc. If BT4 ends up being a great migration for the league, would the goal be to keep all base rosters for teams as intact as possible, or would it be a full theme and roster reset?
I'd like to take this one first. In all honesty, we can't answer that because it really depends on who all is there.
Yep.
Even if all let's say for whatever, all of our characters somehow make it into the next game, but there's going to be a ton of super characters as well. We may, depending on what's available, we may want to swap it around if we can. It's just until we see what the roster is going to be, we can't answer these type of questions.
Yeah. I mean, and even setting aside like the team theme question, even just on the roster question, like any changes that BT4 would make, like we could see characters that are now underpowered be significantly stronger. And so like a good example, like let's use a good example, like maybe in the new game, like King Vegeta is now a much stronger character, either because of now apes as a whole are just buffed as somewhat, and or like they fix the problems with King and now he is a much stronger character. Like that could force us to change like how that could force us to change the roster of teams. All that to just reiterate what Kaio said, like right now we can't answer it, and if BT4 does come around and even it checks off all the boxes of the league can actually move to it, it would probably still be a year or two of us being on BT3 while we're testing the new game to see what it would look like.
Also, I just feel like asking the question of, okay, what teams get chopped potentially, and all that, it's just very hard and a long discussion to even go off.
It would.
So
yeah, like because realistically, just being honest for a moment, like if BT4 comes out with the way game development is done right now, it's gonna be very hard to know if we get just all the forms of characters we have right now. Like it's entirely possible, like teams, like some of the more unique teams like Rugrats may just have their roster decimated because, okay, well now you have Teen Goten and Teen Trunks from Super, and so now they don't give us the Kid Goten and Kid Trunks that was in Boost in the Junior World Martial Arts Tournament and the Boo Saga. So it's yeah. Like it's just going to be a wait and see for now.
Plus, we're still just living on the hope of that one image. That one image that we got, what was it, last year?
No,
So
it was like 6 months ago now.
What, the trailer? Was it 6
Yeah.
months? I thought it was last year that it came out.
Oh, no, it was back in March of this year. It feels like a year ago, but it hasn't quite been that long yet.
Okay. Well, either way, it has been a long time so far, and we have not heard anything regarding it.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. All right. next question. This is a long one, so I'm gonna read, and it details the various loans and trades that went through last season. I'm gonna go ahead and read off everything, and then we'll circle back around. So Sean asked, now that the main season is over, it's a good time to look back on the loans and trades for this season. First, what are your overall thoughts about how these loans and trades did for their respective teams, and which teams do you think got the most value out of their transaction, and which team the least? First loan is a three-way loan between Derp, Budokai, and Androids. Derp got Android 19, Budokai got Supreme Kai, and Androids got Cyborg Tau. The next loan is Rugrats and GT. GT got Pan, Rugrats got GT Goku. The next loan was another three-way loan between Muscle, Sentai, and Cold. Muscle got King Cold, Sentai got Raccoon, and Cold got Jace. Next one is a loan between Resurrected Warriors and Earth Defenders. Resurrected Warriors got Tien and Yamcha with some Zenny, and then Earth Defenders got En Vegeta and Yajirobe. And then the final trade we had this year was an actual trade between Kaiju and Royals. Kaiju got Slug, Royals got King Vegeta. Whew. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with the trade. Like, I think just thematically, Kaiju got the most out of this trade because it kind of it further breaks the mold of they're just a reskinned Saiyan's team.
Right.
Which I like.
But out of use-wise, I think Royals got the better end of that trade.
Weirdly enough, looking, because he also included the average on here, Slug squeaked by a little bit better.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, I think with how their Kaiju is, how Royals built Slug, being able to shuffle around his Pataras onto other characters ends up helping them. Because let's also be real, like Deborah and Majin Vegeta have been the big threats on Royals, and having King Vegeta be a solid 40k character coming in behind them, like that's been massive for them.
Yeah.
I mean, I always feel like I always love Slug, honestly. I think Slug has great potential, like a Bojack potential where he can, like a Gojek pretty much, where he can do like a lot of damage if he's built correctly. And I love Ashley Slug, so I think he'd be a really good character. So I think Kaiju definitely got their better end of the deal, but that's just me.
Yeah. Another one I thought was really interesting was the Resurrected Warrior Earth Defenders loan, because
Yes.
I just feel like, now number one, I feel like En Vegeta is just being significantly underused if you leave him in base form. And I think his stats this season just kind of prove that. But like I think Yamcha and Tien have been, on the whole, very impressive for Resurrected Warriors this season. Like both of them, I think, losing En Vegeta, I think, was not an overall detriment to their team, given they got those two mostly working.
Yeah, oh god, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, MVG has been like MVG has been like an easy 50k character. We get two good characters, at least they're 40k average, so definitely a good trade, I feel like, for RW. I mean, two characters, dash K characters, so, and instead of just one character, maybe like, and get rid of, Yajirobe, which devs didn't use, so, and Vegeta, which is like one of the strong characters, but I feel like it's a good trade for them. They get a lot more consistency along the team.
I will say that I did think that it's weird that En Vegeta underperformed, because I know, Mal, you said that you feel like he didn't really do that well like in base form, but like last season, RW used him in base form and he got 48k average. So like I'm not sure in terms of how Earth Defenders, if they built him that much differently from how RW had it, or it could have just been now he's on a new team and so he interacts differently. So
Yeah.
it could be any of those factors. It is just weird seeing such a strong character who can literally go to any form and still just do as well, like do like under 40k. Uh, but yeah, no, RW Yamcha was a problem in off-season testing last season. Uh, so just seeing him still keep that up, and he wasn't even their best character. 18 was for RW. That's saying something. And it's always refreshing to see TN on, I think, on a newer build because he wasn't on EL this season at all. So
Yeah, I think he was only on EL like once or twice towards the end of the season, because at first they had him, I think they had him FA benched for Ader, and then they brought him in later. But yeah, no, like they got, I definitely think RW got their money's worth. And my point about Vegeta is more, I just think in base form he is underused. Like, yes, he had a good season last season, but I just don't, you compare him to Super Saiyan, and I just think over the course of 2 to 3 seasons, you're gonna see Super Saiyan and Vegeta have a better average. So, because like, and to that point, like, you think about Sentai getting Raccoon with a 62k average damage this season, which is, I just think he's just really overperforming. I don't think we'll see that consistency from Raccoon again, but damn if it didn't work out for a season.
Right. Someone's gonna be chasing that high for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Raccoon going back to muscle on 62k, see how that actually helps them out. But then seeing Jay started off so well for Colt, at least from what I remember, and then he just fell off. At least they had Tao to kind of back them up with that one, and then King Cold was just about average.
Yeah,
Like
King
around
Cold,
40k is what I expected, roughly.
yeah, like King Cold did what he normally does. Yeah, like, well, and when it comes to the other two loans, like, I argue that maybe Budokai got the least out of Supreme Kai, but I think some of that is just, didn't they start him off in base form again, and kind of go for the healing?
Yep, he was in base form the whole time.
Yeah, and I just kind of wonder if it would be better to just start him transformed at this point, because he's had a couple seasons and he's kind of struggled in base. Android 19, I think, did well on Derp. I think they just kind of brought him in a little late, because I can't remember what Derp did with him. I just remember Derp and Bobbity doing really well for Derp.
Yep, he was out for Bobby, if anything, and then I think he ended up coming back in for Bobbity, like later on in the season.
Yeah, because I remember I gave them a new build for Bobbity, and it had a couple of just weeks where it did really well, and that's all I remember. So, but yeah, unless, do y'all have any other thoughts on any of these trades and loans?
No, I don't think so.
Particular, GT Goku actually did well, and then the androids. That was pretty much it.
I don't know how,
Unfortunately, Van never got used.
I don't know how freaking that loan occurred, but GT and Rugrats, that's kind of weird trade, but
He was basically RP Law. You know how Fat Happy always throws Zinni at people? Throws Zinni at his problems? There. Character throws Zinni at my problems. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
It worked. So
yeah. Yeah. So moving on to our next question. Any surprises or characters that you are particularly happy or sad about being in the top and bottom 15 characters of the league? And he's got a image of the top 15 and the bottom 15 characters.
It will be shown on screen as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
Top 15, I don't see too many surprises there,
Early
except for
Piccolo.
Early Piccolo and Raccoon. Raccoon being number 3 in the league this season.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really nice to see Raccoon and Early Piccolo in that, in those locations. Let me say it that way.
Sean, I see what you did there. You excluded the real number one.
Yeah.
Official,
Technically, Early
official by
Piccolo is
stats.
not in the top 15.
Technically, Go Tanks has been in a good amount of matches for his stats to actually be.
Yeah, we're
apparently.
yeah, stats team can do whatever they want. For staff purposes, GoTanks is not number 1.
That was never discussed.
He has too many bonuses and weird things about him to make him matter for that purpose.
I will say though, for bottom 15, I am most disappointed to see Hercule and Scouter Vegeta and Android 21.
Herc really had just a horrible, like a real bad season.
Yeah, he didn't want to throw out P2s for a while.
Yeah, Herc was weird. Like, they even had him on TNAF for a while, and he just would not throw out B2s. And it really sucks because he is he has long been a linchpin of Dirt to having a good season, and just no one on Hercule just was just a detriment to them.
Mm-hmm.
And when the team is just so reliant on him to be that glass cannon, and you're not getting the cannon, you're just getting the glass, like it hurts. Yeah, Scouter, I got no idea why he's down there. I think it was a similar thing of just they couldn't get him to do what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
For me, I would say like in the top 15. Of course, I'm always glad to see Kid Trunks up there, in the top 5. I'm kind of shocked that Baby. Well, not shocked that he's up there. I actually thought, and I wanted him to do a bit more. Baby's always just an interesting character to really look at and to watch fight overall. So you got that, and then to the bottom 15. I already mentioned Hercule, and then what's his face? Super Saiyan 2 and Goku. He looked really strong in the off-season testing. And to see him this low, yeah, it's not too good to see, especially, and also 21. 21, I think since I was saying that they just didn't have much time to test for her or something like that, or they couldn't find anything for her, so it's just unfortunate.
They sniped her at the last second. They had one build that was giving decent results in testing, and they tried a couple variations on that build in AI and just couldn't get it. They just couldn't get it to click in time. Yeah.
So for me though, I think top 15, obviously I'm kind of laughed about what was it? Who looks good to me? Team Gorn, obviously I love to see a top 15 because obviously the hybrid guy. Who else? 18. I got to see 18 doing well. 11. That was I always think 18's a good character. So I always love seeing her top 15. Early Piccolo was kind of funny too with I think what is it, 70k over it was, or for a while, or is averaging such with my bargain.
Yeah, at the beginning of the season, he was doing almost a consistent 70k a match on his on that build of his. It was really impressive, and yeah.
I fell off the cliff, but he still managed top 16 technically, but I mean, still good though. He still managed to stay up there. And obviously the last one for top 15 to be Frieza, because I'm always a Frieza guy. I love cold. And for the bottom, obviously, I'm sad to see 2 hybrids in there, Trunks and Kid Gohan. And obviously
His
the
kid's
lights
going
and
on
those.
though. Come on.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. Like now that you mention it, like I'm a little surprised to see Dr. Giro in there, just because it feels like the last. And maybe it was just too late to matter, but like the last third of the season, it felt like they got him fixed, or GT got him fixed a bit.
He did have like a 70K performance. That was against Cinema, where he just
Yeah.
popped off.
Yeah, I mean, but and it just comes down to one performance is not enough to necessarily save a season. The other one that kind of breaks my heart is Android 8 being down there, but that's one of the things where I just wonder if he might do better on a different team, because I know RW tends to use a lot of the key and super Pataras already, so especially with N Vegeta coming back soon, so I don't know.
Yeah, Android 8's always just Mr. Consistent, 40K guy, so kind of sad to see him down there. And no Nova Shinron, obviously, like he can be character, like it's kind of weird seeing him down there. Captain Ginyu, man, I want to see Ginyu do well. I was rooting for Ginyu the whole year. I'm a Ginyu fan. See him go. And also Godo. Rest in peace, Godo.
Yep. All right. Last question from Sean. Last but certainly the most important question that deserves an answer. Who are your bets for making it and winning the bowl, and why is it Cold Kingdom? The more detailed, the better.
I was rooting for Cold Kingdom, but just because you said that, I'm rooting for Blue Saga now. So, actually, no, I'm rooting for Kaiju. Forget that.
Oh,
So yeah, no, forget Cold.
Yeah, Kaiju all the way.
what? This is blasphemy here.
It's just it's unfortunate that you're just going against them. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with who the opponent is. It's just Kaiju.
Yeah, as I said before, I am fine with Cold Kingdom winning it. I think it would be much more fun to have Budokai or Earth Defenders or some of the other teams take the win, but I would not mind seeing a Cold Kingdom victory myself. Because I don't think they've even been to the finals since like season 3 or 4 in the old league, and I know they lost to Super Saiyans, and that's about it.
I know they always show up early in the season, and they do really good. Then they kind of fall off, and then in the playoffs, and then they kind of just start, they just sputter out. I would love seeing. I'm obviously a Cold fan, so I do want to see him do well. But for other teams also that I like to see it do well as well in there. So.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and move on to the next question from Bad to the Bow. He says, enjoy my many questions I hope haven't already been asked. First one is, now that we've had a full season, minus playoffs, with the new Pataras, how do you feel about their use? Are there any characters you think benefited greatly from the use of them? Are there any that didn't get used too much you hope to see more over the course of off-season testing and maybe next year?
Well, obviously, it was Keegan Show on 17 was kind of nuts for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the reduced costs of some Pataras I think really helped. Like Dragon Spirit got reduced for this season, right?
Yeah, so. Dragon Spirit got reduced. The Ping Pong Pataras got reduced, along with having a new option. I'll echo Key Control on 17 and a couple others. Focus Shot has seen some good usage so far. What I would really like to see is people put more time and attention to the Pataras like Dragon Heart, Dragon Beat, and Dragon Pulse. Like I think they get a little bit of a bad rap because they don't see how quickly you can fill up your B2 gate, your B1 stocks with some of those Pataras. Like I don't remember. I don't think you weren't in this testing enemy, but Kaio and Tosh might have when we tested. I can't remember if it was Adult Gohan or Majin Vegeta, but like we would just put Dragon Pulse on him and just watch him go from 0 to 6 in about 10 seconds flat with Dragon Pulse, and we're like, oh, this is why it wasn't used in the base game.
Right.
Is this too powerful? And so I do think people would benefit from looking more into those, especially for some of our B1 happy people. I also think the cost reduction for Ultra Divine Water will help, just because it's probably more appropriately priced at 3 points rather than 4.
Yeah, I agree though. Like I said, I tried to use Dragon Pulse for a while on King Gohan, but I just didn't want to transform with it. Just trying to use it more of a transforming gimmick, and maybe try to use it for something else, try to use it for like actually using B1s, not just try to transform. I tried it. I'm kind of glad to see, obviously, UDW going down, because people always hate on UDW for some reason, which I kind of think it's not. Like I said, it's always good for characters that have low base stats, so like a Nam or whatever it is, that make good use of it. That they can make really good use of it. So I think people just underestimate it, and I think now at 3 costs, it's going to be hopefully used more. Hopefully, but yeah, you never know.
Yeah, and if it's not, well, we'll keep an eye on it. But yeah. Any other thoughts on that one, guys?
Nope.
Yeah. So moving on. Question number 2. Android 21 is the newest addition to the roster this season as an FA exclusive and ended up with the lowest average damage of any character in the season. Do you feel she may need a second look at her kit / Zenny pricing, or do you believe the right build just hasn't been found for her yet?
Short answer, I say no. She does not need to have a second look.
Yeah, she doesn't need to be looked at. She just needs different builds.
Yes. Like I will say Demonic Bargain can be used well on her. I think that it was just a matter of I looked. Let me double check the builds just to make sure about what I'm saying, but I want to say like it was just a matter of some of the AI that was used on her when she had her Demonic Bargain build, because like I have seen it do well on her, but there are other ways to build her that I think could have done just as well, if not better. And she across
technically no build could have done just as well, because she ended up last.
Yeah. Looking at the AI she was on, that is not one I would have put on her, but it was a thing of like kind of as we had alluded to earlier. It was just they kind of sniped her at the end and ended up with just like a couple of ideas that Sentai just couldn't make work on her.
It was Royals they sniped her from, right?
I think so.
I would have loved to see how, because I know Buzz was actually excited to use her.
Yeah.
So
and hopefully next season they'll get a chance. Because she can do better. She can absolutely do better than what we saw this season. I think I think Sentai was just the wrong team for her, just because she needed different blue Pataras than they could give her. What was a big part of it. So, any other things y'all want to add to that?
Nope.
Nope.
All right. Cool. So, question 3. For the 2021-2022 season, Jiren was added. For 2022-2023, Android 21 was added. Assuming y'all can talk about it, can we expect another new addition for the roster for the 2024 season? If not, what is the primary reason? Balancing, limited character slots, etc. I'll take this one since I tend to head up most of the modding talk. Just to go ahead and pull off the band-aid, no. As of right now, we're not planning on having a new character for 2024. The biggest reason is just we have added a ton. Well, I'll get into that part in a minute, but like the biggest reason is just we have limited character slots we can of people we can replace, and so staff policy up till now has been, if we're replacing a character, we need it to be as hype as possible, or we need it to be as practical as possible. You know, so Sentai needed a new character to help buff them. You know, we needed a hype character to help drum up interest in the league, and you know, Android 21 we thought would be a good way to do that. And I'll talk about some of the other reasons why this happened in a moment, but you know, when we decide on a character, we usually have to know who we're going to mod in starting in March or April of maybe even as late as May of the current year, in order to make sure that we have time to let Vive or myself or whoever is working on this character have enough time to polish the character up to league standards, and then for us to test this character to get them to be roughly in the place we want them to be in. And that takes a lot of time. And this year, one of the things that we wanted to do was take a step back from all of the changes we have made over the last 2 seasons with all the mods, like all the new Pataras, all the rule changes, all the new form allowances, and start making sure that what we have is still good quality. It is still fairly balanced, not just from season to season, but like taking a step back and saying, hey, look, you know, yeah, the last 2 seasons have been fairly balanced, but is that just RNG, or are there deeper problems hiding? And so people have heard me complain about me doing tons and tons of testing, and that's because, you know, up to this point, I've done like 1,500 tests of just baselining every team and making sure that we're actually still balanced. And while there's some minor issues staff will have to work through, and that will help feed into, you know, maybe not 2024, but 2025, you know, we'll feed into some stuff there. Like the trade-off to that is we couldn't do both of those things, and we chose to take a step back and try to focus on making sure what we have is as balanced and as good quality as possible, rather than just making changes to make changes. And I'm sure all 3 of the other guys here can attest to how much I have complained and about being in the testing dungeon.
Yes, yeah.
I feel like sometimes you just like it, but you want to complain.
Yes, that is part of it. Y'all have anything else y'all want to add to that?
No, you basically
No.
handled it.
Yeah, you got it.
That is your expertise.
Now back to the testing dungeon with you.
Yep, I know. 4th question and final one from Bad to the Bow. This is Cinema's 3rd year in a row of not making it to playoffs. Do you believe a buff might be in order for their roster, or do you believe it's simply bad luck?
Skill issue.
Shut up!
Hush.
I'm sorry. No. In all, I couldn't resist. No, in all honesty, as Mal has mentioned, with all of the testing that we've done behind the scenes, we don't believe Cinema needs any boosts.
Honestly, it's probably
The
just
team
bad luck.
is a good team. I just think what they have tried hasn't panned out, unfortunately.
Yeah, and like to put it in perspective, I think it was last year. Like they just lost on tiebreakers, like and it was Cinema, and you know, like Cinema's case where they kept drawing and they kept tying with other teams and losing the tiebreakers despite having a good record. Like I think last year they were 8-7 or 7-8. Let me double check. Yeah, they were 8-7 last year. This is not a weak team. Like they may have off seasons, but they are not a weak team. I've seen that in my own testing with them. I think they could be better, but I also think that just the Kai structure, they got slotted in with some really good teams, and it kind of just made things difficult for them to get into the playoffs. Yeah, just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. I mean, I do think they're a strong team on paper. So, I mean, I think they're definitely don't need a buff. They just, have to figure some stuff out. I mean, it's all right. Their team's really good.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, good luck to Cinema. Like we do feel your pain, and we understand. We have been testing with your team to make sure that there is not a deeper problem. I will leave it at that. So, moving on. First question from Dorgard. Can the non-tradables be allowed for loans? So, i.e., characters that only belong on one team theme. Basically making it so roster lock characters can be loaned with each other. For example, Evil Boo for 16.
Short answer is no.
That kind of gets rid of the whole reason of theme teams, and it's just I don't like it.
Yeah, like that gets into a lot of that question of team themes and how much are we going to hold to them. Every time we've raised it, people have said, let's keep the team themes. So,
and we just did this huge revamp to boost up everyone's base rosters, their master lists, all that kind of stuff. So, like, we kind of already addressed it as best as we could without just making it no theme, I feel.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Next question. Any thoughts on B1 updates, as in making the characters that have only one B1 actually get a usable second? Not asking to make healing B1s a thing again, but swapping them out so characters have full kits again. That's a modding thing. That is very low priority at the moment. We understand the frustration. Like, it's just having a second B1 at this point could effectively be a buff for teams, and we want to be very careful about how that is handled. Like,
it's so much extra testing for us to do it and then say, okay, well, what ones are okay to give out? Does this? There's so many things that could come from that.
Yep. Enemy, do you have any thoughts on that one?
No, it's like I said, it's mostly it's a dangerous thing to add, So we also have to be very careful on what we want to add and you take away, because for the balance of the league. So
yeah. All right. Last question, and then there is a comment on that last question. Anthony asks, can we get rid of FA lock characters, Vegito, Android 21, General Tao, etc.? False God Red commenting, and if yes, hybrids call dibs on the adult Gohan.
No.
Yeah, no.
So, just to give a little bit more context for the people that are listening, because we are just talking about this, his idea was more so like, Android 16 is currently roster locked for Android, but he possibly switching him out for, Android 21, and essentially that will also be the same with hybrids for like maybe Ultimate Gohan and Adult Gohan, which was the case when we first started the league. They had a choice that they can choose between the two. So, but yeah, I still say no towards that, because you need a consistent free agent pool for one. It just causes a lot of different changes that probably is not needed right now.
Yeah, like I understand some of the motivation behind it, especially for some of the characters like Android 21 and Adult Gohan that are intentionally FA exclusive. There's other characters like General Tao and PyCon that, simply put, just don't fit on a current team theme. And it just comes down to, there are a lot of league balance reasons why some of these characters are FA locked. If we had a good alternative, we could investigate it. I just don't think we've gotten a good alternative up to this point that we could look into. But yeah, like, I get it. Like, I mean, if we really wanted to, we could always just go back to no FAs, but I don't think that would be a good thing for the league.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. Yeah, you really don't want to see like hybrids of don't go on. Like in ultimate go on. I think that'd be like a terror you don't want to see in the league. So
Yeah, like, yeah, and just to kind of dig on the hybrids for adult Gohan, like, that if we were to bring adult Gohan back into the league, like, that's a legitimate scenario that we have to deal with, because we can't just let hybrids have Kid Gohan for adult Gohan. That is now a gauntlet level team right there. And so it's hard, and yeah, it sucks, you know, because I think it'd be very fun to see adult Gohan more often, or Kid Gohan on a team that would be happy to let him transform to 8. But we've just kind of got to deal with what we got.
it's not like we don't like him transforming. It's just like I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Well,
an issue with.
Yeah. Well, that is the end of our questions, guys. Do y'all have any closing things before we go?
I hope everyone's looking forward to the bowl, and hoping we have a good postseason.
Yeah, thanks for the support. Continue to, just chill, like, show around our content and everything like that. Help us grow. Still growing a little bit slower, but like we're still growing nonetheless. More people almost every other day or so. So it's good to see.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, if you've been on the fence about joining us in the Discord, or trying to help us do things, now's the perfect time. We're in postseason, so some team, half our teams are already in off-season testing mode. So it's the perfect time to jump in and get familiar with everything we're doing. We've got the tournament at Power coming up. I believe on December 17th is our tentative start date. Enemy, is that right?
Yes.
So that's that is coming up soon. We use that to let new people have a good jumping point to getting their hands dirty with building characters and figuring out how everything works. So if that's something interesting to you, then join us in the Discord. Link for that is in the description. So, but yeah, until next time, hope everybody continues and enjoys the quarterfinals and other matches we have coming up. We'll see you in about a month for the Tenkaichi Bowl. So,
see you next
Go
time.
hybrids.
see ya, guys.
Yeah.
Everyone.